What's up, guys? Andrew from Water Soft Wash here, coming at you on a Saturday. We're about 8 o'clock here up in Georgia. I'm wanted to give you a video kind of going through how to mix your bleach. So what does that mean? What do I mean by that? So let's go into it. So you need to know how to mix your bleach for certain what applications you're going to use, and you need to have equipment to mix it with. Now I see a lot of people who mix it with a gallon, 5-gallon jugs, and I understand you have to start somewhere, but if you can afford it, I would go to a metering valve system, um, and go that route, because it's gonna be muscle memory. You know how to mix it every time, and it's it's just a lot easier. It's very simple once you get the hang of it. So we're gonna go into what I use and kind of how I go through that. So first, here's what I use. So it's the dually right here. So this is our batch buster. This is a metering valve, and this is the 12-volt side. Now I have a 24-volt side for this one. However, I put a box on it, and now it has this smart blend. So I don't really use that. I have one if I need it, and I'll probably just keep this on there because this is one of those investments. It just kind of saves you some time and ladder work. Isn't that nice? That fell off. The sticker fell off. I still have it, but it fell off. I gotta glue that back on. But so here's what we're looking at. So the batch buster. So when I started, I want to show you for reference on my other truck that has a mini skid on from Southeast Soft Wash. One of their earlier models, not the Super Mini. The Super Mini is bad to the bone, and this thing is too. But they address a lot of the issues that I had with this thing, like the pressure hose reel and just the layout mainly. But this is if you can see it in here, this is the valves we have here. And this is just kind of a knock. I mean, it's just what was available. It didn't have the... So we're gonna go back into this, so that's the first metering valve, and the batch buster is the updated metering valve. So I like the batch buster a lot better because, for one, it has actually numbers on there, so you know what you're mixing without a doubt. You're not guessing, which after a while you're not guessing on that one, but I just like things to be simple, and that's what this is. So we got, and this is really easy to remember, it's color coded. We got red for bleach, that means death. Yellow soap, blue's water. Those are always the colors on Southeast Soft Wash equipment. Has been on my equipment and is still on the ones they're making. Now, why is this one different? Well, I think you get a lot more flow out of these. Now, it really opens up on the inside of these. They have these balls in them, these blue balls, I think is what they call them. And it's like a straight shot straight through, and it really opens up all the way. And I could tell when I'm using it, there's no lack of pressure, and it seems like the pump is running at about full capacity. So, and you can always upgrade it more if you wanted to put, bigger hoses on it, and so forth, like this big, upgrade these, the reel, and it would go even further. But it's a good starting point, and I think it's very affordable. Even if you wanted to build them, or at least get the valves, these 3 valves, you can, and you can install them on your own deal, and you can. But we have bleach, soap, water. Now let's go into what I use, and then I'll show you what I have a little chart in this box, and in the toolbox it tells me what you would want to use on certain surfaces from Southeast Soft Wash, what they recommend. So we'll look at that after I tell you my opinion and 2 cents on this. So for driveway pre-treat, we'll go into that first. I use 3%. So, and I wasn't using soap, but with this hot weather, I actually do use a little bit of soap. So for driveway pre-treat, water's all the way on, turn it to 3, and I put about one on the soap. Not too much, or you have a bubble bath, you'll start sliding around on the concrete. So you don't want to have too much fun either. I mean, you got to get it done. So don't turn the soap up too much. That's not a good idea on concrete. So one on the soap, 3 on the bleach. Water is all the way on always. You can go more on the driveways. When you go more, you risk burning grass. But I understand some driveways are just so filthy you have to use hotter bleach, and I've done that before. So, but that's what I start off with for reference. Now we're going to go to house washing. So this is my house, and I have been in the past using 3% as a house wash mix on soap and bleach, water all the way on. But now I'm kind of been taking an approach of maybe 2% on bleach, 3 on soap, and water all the way on, because in these exclusive neighborhoods, the shrubs and the plants are so fragile that it's hard to make up for it with 3%. Sometimes it's a difference between 1 or so percent that kills a bush. I've seen it. 4.5 to 6%, believe it or not, is a big difference on a roof wash. I could tell how fast it cleans, and I could tell the difference. So with this, that's our house wash mix. We're going to turn the bleach to 2. So it's at 2. And then the soap is going to be on 3. Water's all the way on. So that's all you have to do for a house wash mix. Now for a roof, you just adjust it accordingly. Soap, bleach, 4.5 in my case. Sometimes you want to go hot, go 6. That's all the way self-explanatory. I run 4.5, and you can run 3 on the soap, or if you really want to use not that much, turn it on 6. It'll clean to the roof better, and you'll clean it faster. So that's kind of what we got. When you get done with your job, of course, you got to rinse your pump out, but you're going to turn the bleach, soap off, leave the water on for about a minute or so while the pump's running. Let that get out of the hoses and system. Then you cut that off. I always run it out. I kill the switch on the other side. So that's my ratios. You'd run a 2% on bleach for house, 3% on soap, and water all the way on. And for the recommended ratios, we got this right here. So that's what they give us from the factory. So if you read that. So all this, we're going to go into this. So the 1% vinyl painted surfaces, they recommend that on houses, I guess. Fiberglass structures, it goes into all this detail. 2, vinyl siding, same thing. Brick, light growth. I've always used 3 on brick if it's really dirty, at least. Then once you get to 4, it starts going into the roofs, membrane roofing, stucco, pre-treat for 3 and 4 on flat work. Medium staining, asphalt, 5, 6, heavy staining, 6%. Most of the time, the roofs we do are going to be 6% or worse. They just get so bad and caked up, so we're going to really hit it hot. I don't waste time and use a light mix, because time is money, and if your plant protection is good, if you've got another hand, then you don't need to use a light mix. So that's what we got in the box. It tells you what to do. And just for the heck of it, if I can even get it out here, we got another one. I can't even barely turn my hand. We got one right there too in the box. So they want you to know what to use when you're in the field and have any questions. And there's a little troubleshoot QR code on the skid too. So I know what I'm doing. However, if I didn't, it's nice to know that I can get some help and some answers to some common questions. That's what I run on mixes as far as all that. Of course, if you get to weird situations, these houses I do this, when I said I was using 2% on house washes for bleach, most of the time the reason is because there's a lot of stained wood around. I did a house this week, Tuesday, and it's a neighbor, and they called me saying how they had a guy come out and pressure wash it, and he didn't want to do it because the whole house was stained, apparently. He said he'd bleach streak it and ruin it. So I went out there, did a test spot. I didn't turn it, but I know that can be deceiving on a little spot. I did 2 spots. This house was, gables, arbors, door, the entire house was stained. There wasn't, other than the soffits and gutters, everything was stained all the way around. Big house, about 4,000 square feet. But we put it on 2%, and there was water on the stained wood the entire time. It didn't take any off. So that's one reason. I think if you were to put 6% on that house and still water it, I think it would probably eat through that and lighten it up a little bit. I get nervous around stained wood, even though I'm kind of gotten around it a lot. But you have to water it constantly and use a lighter mix on that. It's really easy to mess up. The only way to fix it is to restain it, and that's very costly. I mean, restaining an entire house would be quite a costly expense. So that's why I run a lighter mix on that. But roofs, I usually run a heavy hot mix to get it done quickly. But that's what I run, and I think the batch buster, I mean, it came in my skids. I didn't buy it outright, but you can probably get a said and done one for probably a grand or so. And if you don't have any idea how to mix and you don't have anything to mix with, it's probably a safe bet to start on, to get and start doing. So yeah, I get probably a 5.0 as far as stars. I mean, it does everything I need and more. I will say the one thing I need to do about it is this check valve on this bleach side is bad, so I'm gonna have to replace it. How you know a check valve is bad is because when I'm done, it doesn't really cut the water off through there, and so it backfills into the bleach tank, so it dilutes your mix. And if you don't cut it off, it'll fill your whole tank up over time. So not good, but I will get another one that's cheap. Just a maintenance thing. But I mean, it's just, you just unbolt it right here and twist this out, put a new one in, and then it's fixed. So I like it. I like it a lot. It's simple. It's clean. And then the ones they also have clear ones where you can see the clear manifold, see it all run through. This one's clear. And that's one of the things I like about it. You can see the soap turn yellow and all that. It looks really nice. And so when you're running it through the hose, it's going to take probably a minute or so to get through here. In my case, if you have a shorter hose or if you have a longer hose, it can vary. So keep that in mind, and it's going to take at least a minute if you got a 200-foot hose to get through, priming it and then draining it as well. So keep that in mind. Don't water it out for 5 seconds and say the pump's rinsed out, because it's not. You got to rinse it out all the way through. So that's a little tip for you. But I'll tell you what I've been up to. I did a roof today, a decent sized roof. It was a really good before and after. And it took me a while. It was hot as anything today, but I got it done. There's a pretty good ticket on it too. Not too complicated of a roof. It was just a lot of roof. The front had two kind of sides that were on the side of the house, one on each side, left and right. Front, garage, those two sides, and then it was clean and done. But it looked like new money when I got done. He was super happy, so that's what we try to do. But I will show you our latest addition. It's right behind me. So this is a makeshift water buffalo. So basically, whenever I do these big commercial jobs, I need a water buffalo, and you got to go rent one. So you got to go to United Rentals or Herc Rentals, Sunbelt Rentals, you know that, and rent it. And it can be costly. You'll spend anywhere from $250, $350 a day renting them. But it's the time it takes to go get them. So it takes you about a whole morning to go get them, because they open at 8:30 or whatever. And once you go get it, you just wasted almost a morning go getting it. So it's inconvenient. I don't like paying for it. I'd rather have my own that I can use on hand whenever I have. It's a time thing. So this is what we found. So we were driving around. I was doing a job in a town over. I saw this military buffalo sitting in a field, and actually my dad saw it, and he called me, and then we went to go look at it, and this thing is pretty dang stout. I mean, it sits up a good ways on this truck, but it sits up really high. So, but it's stout. I mean, this thing is so reinforced. Everything is just, they didn't spare any expense on this thing, but it's military. But this is basically what they would have on the station and barracks when people needed fresh water. So to have fresh water, I think it's got a liner in here, and then on the inside it's stainless steel. So we opened it up and it looked shiny, not a lick of rust in there. It's like, okay, now we're talking. It's a 400-gallon tank, decent amount, 400 gallons. And so the guy wanted $500 for it. I said, okay, I'll take it. And it's not even a money thing for me, but the new ones, I got a used one, and I first opened the tank up and it was filled of algae and mud and sticks from construction sites. And I was like, okay, I don't really want that going through my pressure washer. And they didn't clean it out. I was like, good grief, man, y'all need to. I got onto them when I returned it, but yeah, I don't want to have to worry about it not being clean. I mean, I need it to work. That one had a motor on the front for a pump, a Honda, but it had a whole bunch of fittings I didn't need, like a lot of I can't remember what it was, but it wasn't as simple as this one is now. But this one, 400 gallons, stainless steel inside liner. It's got one axle instead of two like the other one had, a military axle, semi-axle, so it's a big heavy-duty axle. So what I've done so far is I yanked the lights off, put some new ones on. Once I had to wire it all the way underneath it. I snipped all that wiring out for the old lights. Then there was a bunch of brake stuff here. I snipped all that off, make it look cleaner. We had to figure out a hitch situation because it sits so high. So we took the wheels off the stand. That made it sit down a little bit lower. And this truck sits low already because of the equipment. But we got a drop hitch pintle, and we had to break this loose and flip this over so it was up another 4 inches. But we broke it loose and flipped it over, so now it fits just right. But now that it works, this is what we installed today. So this is where it's going to pump water. So here's the tank. We're going to fill up in the top, obviously, and hook our hose for the truck into here and twist it on here. Here's your little hose right here. This goes right here, twist it on, turn it, and you got water. And it supposed to suck 35 gallons a minute, and it sure enough probably does. But it keeps up, and this is going to be a pretty sweet investment. I'm going to get my goodie out of it. So here's how this thing operates. So you got this little valve right here. You're going to twist it, if I can. Yeah, twist it. So now the water's coming through. So we're going to twist this open. So that's the water. Just gravity fed coming out of the tank. So cut that off. Pretty neat though. I mean, you got the faucets on each side for people to drink out of. It's pretty interesting. You just twist it back to cut the water off. But that water is coming out, and then this motor is sucking water as well from this hose, so it's going to be pushing a lot of water out. So it should be the ticket. So my idea with this thing is now it's functional. So I have a water buffalo now that I can use for big jobs with no water. I need to get some tires on it. They're dry rot. My plan is to have this whole thing Linexed or Rhino lined black, and then, well, actually, probably everything Rhino lined but this tank. So the frame, fenders, everything, every metal but this tank. And then thinking about maybe wrapping this tank with some business advertising. I think that would look really sharp. That's kind of what I'm thinking anyway. If you were to Rhino line the whole tank, I don't think you could get a wrap on top of that. And I don't think you could get magnetic signs or vinyl that stick to it. So I'm still kind of deciding, but I need to use it a little bit, and then I'll get it fixed up and pretty. But it's pretty, I mean, it's pretty stout. I mean, I could tell it's behind the truck. It's actually heavier than that 525 gallon Buffalo that I used for the rental. So that just goes to say, keep your eye open for opportunities. We threw the motor on here, fixed everything in probably 2 days. So now I have a functioning Buffalo that I can use when I need it. So keep that in mind when you're looking for equipment and thinking about how expensive equipment is. You can find stuff that will make your life easier. I wouldn't skimp on washing equipment, but things that will help you, like buffaloes, trailers, just think about that and just keep your eye peeled, because there are some opportunities. But yeah, that's kind of what we covered. So we covered the mixes today, how to mix, what I recommend using to mix, my ratios, the buffalo I'm building. It's about all we got. We got a busy week now ahead, and I'll be at the lake tomorrow working all day. Got a windows, gutters, and house wash to do, but I'll keep you posted on that. Our next video, let me know what y'all want to see, but I think it's probably going to be like an advice video, and talk about some more experiences and home runs and misses that I've gotten in this business. But yeah, so it's Andrew at Sweetwater Soft Wash. Let's go leave a like, sub, and comment, and let me know what y'all want to see next. Hope you find some use out of this. Thank you. Bye.